Good day guys, come here, welcome back to Langrisser News from the future. So on this part of video, as you guys might be wondering, why did I use that as an opening? Because on this part of video, we will be featuring a character that more or less will be having some sort of relation with, you guessed it, Anya. And join me for the video to find out more. So before we start, just to share with you guys, so the videos will be breaking three parts or three categories. The first category being introduction of the Seiyu or VA for the characters, the hero or heroines for this month. Then next we will be featuring the characters' talent skills at rank 6, and on the last part of the video, be featuring some more in-depth details on the characters and whether if there has been nerf sharing of their performance in the Apex scene. So long story short, categorizing whether they are Apex heroes or not. Then last but not least, watch to the end of the video for the translations and the characters builds that I've done for you guys. So are you guys ready? Let's get started. So ta-da! Oh gosh, another sorry. Yep, definitely look like a beauty, and in some way, oh my god, definitely my target character is like, she looks like some sort of widow. Yep, I know I have this weird actually it's not a fetish, I just like the way they dress. It just look nice. So ta-da, featuring this character, this heroine. Yep, it's not a hero, it's a heroine that's being released for the month of February to March 2024. This first characters will be known as Tabres, Tabres. I guess that's how we pronounce it, Tabres. And let's zoom in to check out her character's detail. Whoops. So as you can see, any ladies characters whom do not have very nice figures, as in not figures, do not have over vaporous figures, and a wielding swords. As you can tell, their class, they are offensive characters, definitely not so support, and also not tank characters. But nonetheless, the art is definitely nice, and we'll be finding out more about their status during the demo play. Oh gosh, I don't know why she's wearing that dark veil, but it definitely looks alluring, and it looks like she's seducing me. Yep. So okay, I gotta say the art is nice, and as you can see, I'm gonna presume she's not that tall because her boots seems like it's being stacked up. So Tabres. Okay, as you guys can see, her voice actress is none other than Mrs. Atsumi Tanezaki, whom has previously voiced the following two characters, or currently voicing the two characters, that has been greatly known by fans throughout the world in recent years. On my left, featuring Anya Forger from Spy X Family, or just Spy Family. Sorry, I'm the kind of person that I read out if I saw the X is there. Yep. Then on the right, an anime that I have not watched yet is So no Furiren, and she's voicing as the female leading character Furiren herself. So a quick short backstory for the characters as translated here. So Glorious Sky Pegasus Knight, she has already discarded this false name. The Dark Wings, the Rebellion Dark Wings, is the new nickname that the citizens or people of Cerberix bestow upon her. And oh my god, she's a widow. Oh my god, I saw the word. Oh, Bibojin, yes. Okay, this means widow. Whether it's written, this is definitely a direct translation from the Japanese version, because in the Chinese version, usually they like to use for full, correct me if I'm wrong. So, like the story is, so currently, the widow that is holding on to the Blade of Dawn will be guiding the Dark Pegasus who wants to know the truth, who thirsts for truth. And they will definitely tremble against, and their task is to tremble against the false lies. So, okay, as usual, we will, before we go to the next part, well, before we end with letting you guys hear how she sounds like, we'll be going through a little more details. So, related heroes. So I'm going to presume this might be the hero that you need for the bond, but then again, will be updated again for you guys. So she's a teacher of action. So in the past, when Ashen's elder brother is busy with royalty's work or the palace work, so Tabres is the one who taught her to how to ride on a back Pegasus, and she has been the one accompanying Ashen. However, sobering in her stepdad's tragedy and being shocked by witnessing the shock from the truth of all the lies, she has decided that all her faith or belief as the Holy Pegasus Knight has been thoroughly shattered, and from then on she stands at the opposite point against Ashen, and now they finally meet on the battlefield. Then, so for this guy, yep, Hoofman, yep, the guy with eyes that you cannot see. So apparently, Tabris used to be the student of Hoofman. He's the one who taught her all the swordsmanship skills, combat ability, and giving her all the abilities that she have gained. However, beneath the smile and that line eye are all lies, and which disgust Tabaris. And only that, she now sees that Hoofman is working for the princess, which is Ashen, and now she even firmly believes that all the glory that she used to adore in the past are nothing but filthy power game. So the speech she gave him is, "The kingdom Shu Hoofman, he who bestowed me the art of battle, has let me realize that all the glory that I adore in the past are built out of lies and flesh and blood." And yep, sorry, the certain word I'm not translating directly because well, I guess I'm not that good. Then last but not least, this is the cute picture, chibi pictures of art. Okay, this is definitely very nice. Okay, this is the art by Miao Xiao Tu Liana Granda Curry. So yep. And I'm gonna speculate that because she's wearing maybe tougher armor, that her stats looks, on appearance, looks a bit small. Okay, enough said. So let's hear how she sounds like in the game.
翼を広げよ。怒りに満ちたダークペガサスたちよ。私はこの暁の剣に誓う。真実と未来を取り戻すと。
So again, I've not watched the show from Sozo no Freeland, but I definitely watched Anya from Spy Family. But this voice line definitely don't sound like Anya. To be honest, I'm very surprised. I thought she'd go for a much more like feminine lady or softer tone voice line. But whoa, this aggressiveness, this impact. That's pretty cool. Kudos to the Seiyu. So let's hear again before we go on to the second part. Oops.
翼を広げよ。怒りに満ちたダークペガサスたちよ。私はこの暁の剣に誓う。真実と未来を取り戻すと。
So right, that's it. We will be moving to the second part featuring the talents, skills, factions. And here we go. Welcome to part 2, where I get to see my favorite Tabres Okusan. Oh, 寂しいんでしょ? And yup, featuring her faction, so as you guys can see. So don't worry, watch to the end for the translations and the characters item builds I will be sharing with you guys. So great. As you can see from the factions are from the following: Meteor, Strategy, and Princess. Okay, that's kind of weird. They have not directly say whom she has been married to. I might be presuming it might be some royalty because she's from the Princess faction, or just something that Zilong will definitely give to any royalties bloodline characters. However, being in a faction of Meteor and Strategies, this means that she and even also Princess, she is able to get her faction buff from Zerida's 1.0, because yep, Zerida is back with the introduction of a casting. Then Strategy, you can get your faction buff from characters like Grand Shu, Espelonfort. Then for Princess will be from Christiane. Then alright, coming to her talent. So okay, breaking down. So the talent is known as, at rank 6, Dark Wings of Determinations. The effect are as follows. Number 1, increase attack and defense by 25%. Number 2, after initiating and dealing damage, apply 2 layers of Dark Feathers, which I'll be calling it DF in short. Debuff to enemies for 3 turns. The max it can be stacked to is up to 3 layers, and every cast of DF on the enemy will reset the debuff counter. So for example, on the previous turn you have cast a DF counter on the enemies, and then he enters it left with 2 turns. On this turn you attack the same enemy again, he's gonna gain another DF, but this time around the one that is at 2 turns will be reset back at 3 turns. So in case you guys are wondering. Number 3, when enemy has 1 layer of DF, if they battle with Tabres, the damage they receive will be increased by 20%. Number 4, when enemies has 2 layers of DF, Tabres can choose them as a target globally, aka full map, and teleport to any available space beside the target, and release skills on them. Number 5. When enemies has 3 layers of DF, the attack they receive from Tabres cannot be countered. So based on plain text effect, it actually sounds nice and cool because the effect there's 3 types of effect and start from first layers. As long as enemies has at least 1 layer, the damage they take from Tabres will increase by 20%. And if 2, she can teleport to them. Then 3, they cannot counter any attack from her. Okay, exclusive skill 1. Oops. So alright, we'll be only going through exclusive skills, only going through all full skill sets during the demo play. Exclusive skill 1 is roughly known as Backlight Perching Shadow. Is a 1C skills with a CD of 4 turns, has a range of 3. The AoE type is support single target. Okay, the effect are as follows. The target, you got the target and cast the skill on an ally for them to gain the following effect, including Tabres. Number 1, after initiating attack and dealing damage to enemy, apply 1 layer of DF on the enemy for 2 turns. Number 2, Tabres can gain the following buff effect after using this skill, Black Light Shadow. When your unit, so Black Light Shadow effect as follows. When your unit HP is above 80%, you cannot be targeted for normal attack and skill targeting from enemy for 2 turns. So this is a skill to increase her survivability and also to buff her allies to help speed up on creating DF counters for her without having to go into battle herself directly. Then the second thing is that having these skills after casting, that you kind of you can think of it like being invisible, that you cannot be targeted for normal attack or skill targeting for 2 turns, provided if you met with the requirement that your HP, your unit HP, is above 80%. So it may be good. I'm gonna say this is like a PvE good. PvP wise, you gotta be careful to be good. You just gotta make sure you do not take any damage easily first for the skills to triggers. Okay, exclusive skill 2 is known as Long Cherish Ambitious Absolute Blade. Yep, it's that long. Okay, it's a 2C skills, has a CD of 3. The range is 1. The AoE type is physical single target. The effect as follows. Number 1, attack and deal 1.6 times damage to a target enemy. Number 2, when number of allies are less than enemies, excluding NPC and summon unit, this attack will ignore guard. Number 3, if enemies has no less than 2 layers of DF counters, this attack can damage enemy hero directly. Number 4, when you destroy the enemy, the buff you had will not be reduced. This effect is only available in PvP mode. So something to take note. Number 3, if enemies has no less than 2 layers of Dark Feathers counters, your attack can damage them directly. This effect is actually taken directly from the 2C passive ability from Omega. So in case you guys are wondering how it works, this is like Omega's ability. As long as your skills is higher than enemy by 3 times, you can attack the hero directly. Then number 4, if you destroy the enemies, the buff you had will not be reduced. This effect is only available in PvP mode. PvE wise, there is no such effect. You can just treat it as only 3 effect. However, if you're using it for PvP, there's 4. And now, coming to the last is the 3C skills. K is known as Dawn of Heavy Light. Has a CD of 3, the range of 2, the AoE type is physical 3 blocks. Have both passive and active skills. So number 1 for passive, when allies on the field die, cause the damage source to gain 2 layers of DF counters. So I'm gonna highlight this. Okay, this means allies on the field, 全场有军, and they did not state that excluding NPCs or summon units. So this is definitely best to go or combo with NPCs. Better definitely summon units. We are not going to let NPCs die because of some of the quest prizes you need. Usually you require the NPCs to survive. So you can stack with characters like Akaya Liana, who can summon the unit, and this is definitely a great tag team with characters like Gin-san from the Gintama collaborations. Alright then, for the active skills. Number 1, deal 0.15 times AoE damage to enemies 3 blocks in range. Number 2, heal allies HP by 30% within the skill range. Number 3, after casting the skills, you will obtain for 2 turns Dawn of Heavy Light buff effect. The effect are as follows. Before going to battle, deal 0.1 times AoE damage to enemies 1 ring or circle around you. Second, after using this skill, you can move 3 blocks and attack again. So basically this 3C skill is a very cool and a mixture of a few things. So one is it's gonna be like the wind force attack that characters like Luna will have after you do skill or attack the enemy at the end of turn. You do 0.15 times AoE damage on the enemies and then give them chance of debuff, but instead this is to help trigger your talent ability. Then second is kind of unique because this is like, correct me if I'm wrong, this is definitely going to be like a first physical AoE healer that upon casting these skills, if your allies are within the range, they will be healed. So I can't really remember if there is any other AoE physical healer. I guess this is the first. Then number 3, after casting a skill, you obtain this buff effect, and not only that, you will be able to move 3 blocks and attack again. And going by the description according to face, this means that this can be tagged with the enchantment clock. If clock triggers, you cast the skills, damage enemies, clock triggers, you act again, and then you should be able to cast the skills again probably next turn, as I'm not sure if this 3C has been nerfed, which I'll be sharing a little bit more with you guys on the third part. So this is the end of the second part, featuring the character skills, talent, and 3C. So here we go. And that's it for the skills and talent for Tabres. So alright, welcome to part 3 of the sections, and before we go through, very great thanks to information shared and provided by the Langrisser Data Bank 梦幻模拟站资料库. So, and one thing I got apologize to you guys for regarding what I've said at the start. I am so wrong about her stats. Just look at this, guys. Holy moly, all this while on her original art, it seems like her status has been hugely restrained by all the armor that she's wearing so that she can resist against gravity and force better. And after casting off all the armors from her body, as you guys can see, those are... Oh, no wonder her husband died. Yep. Oh, Kusan. Oh, yeah. And alright, jokes aside, let's get to work. So, so this third section, we'll be going through some of the good and bad things about Tabres herself. So this is testing from a player known as Zhida Wang. So kudos to him for doing the beta testing. So conclusions for the test regarding her DF, her dark feathers from a talent effect. So number one, the effect of dark feathers can be immune, especially against when fighting against characters like our most popular tier 0 healer, Rose and Seals, her crystal protections. So each DF counters will consume one layer of crystal protections, and not to mention that the dark feathers counters can be dispelled. So everything highlight in red what you can do. Then number two, for fighting against enemies, the increment of damage by 20% when you have when enemies have one layer of dark feathers, the damage they receive will be increased by 20%. This is AoE inclusive, or AoE will take effect too, so it's not just going to battle. So if enemies has at least one dark feathers, pre-situation, if your AoE skill is going to do 1000 damage, it will now do 1200 damage upon effect. Number three, the dark feather layers count effect instance, it will straight away show up on your buff label. I'm not sure I'm going to call it buff or debuff from the enemy side. And if pre-battle the layer are 3, the enemy will not be able to attack, and it will be shown here. Okay, it's being shown as 3 pictures. So as you can see, it's 3 different icons. So the first is written as the first dark feather effect. When battling with Tabres, damage you take increased by 20%. So I'm going to presume the CN version, the translation should have been changed to damage received from Tabres will be increased by 20%, because it's not just going to battle, AoE will take effect too. Now number 2 is your second layer of dark feathers. When battling with Tabres, damage will increase by 20%, and Tabres will be able to teleport to available space around the enemy and use her skills. This is what is written here when you have 2 feathers, and last but not least, when you have 3 layers of feathers. So again, it will write in 3 forms. First being when battling with Tabres, damage increased by 20% that you take. Then second is Tabres can teleport to the surrounding empty space available and use her skills. Third, when receiving attack from Tabres, you cannot counter. Okay, the fourth point is that when your Dark Feather is no more than 2 layers, when Tabres is using skills, if she wants to use other skills, she can ignore the distance and teleport to the target directly to release the skills. We'll be able to find out more during the demo play, but in right now I'm gonna just show you this short pictures, video pictures. So as you can see, the third icon is a 3C, which is the AoE skills. You cannot choose the enemy as a target. However, if you're using other single target skills, you can target the enemy. So it's kind of weird that all skills allows you to teleport and release it on the enemies, but your 3C does not allow you to do it. So this is definitely the downside. Then regarding her 1C skills, backlight purging shadows. Yep, the 1C effect can, in case you guys are wondering, you can cast it on yourself. But it is definitely not going to put the ability to the best. You definitely want to cast on your ally, like your tank or any characters with 2 lives, so they can just go and jump into the enemy crowd and damage as much enemies as they can to spread the Dark Feathers. Then regarding her 3C, oh sorry, this is regarding her exclusive skill 2, Long Cherished Ambition, Absolute Blade. So just now we were talking about point 3, if you guys can remember, is when enemy has no less than 2 layers of Dark Feathers counters, the attack can damage the enemy hero directly. So as you can see from the clip here, is that this is how it will work. So both her soldiers and Tabres will attack together. So this is unlike Zeragandus from the Lina, the Slayers collaborations. This is different. So this is much more like Omega's direct attack against hero. So this is definitely a much more stronger move. It's heroes and soldiers attacking the enemy's heroes directly. Then the second point is if the one enemy is being surrounded, the one enemy with 2 layers of Dark Feathers are surrounded by their allies, you will not be able to teleport and jump over. This is basically like the previous banner, the previous banners, that the banner with Patricia and the werewolf Gun. If the enemy, your target enemy, is being surrounded by their allies, you will not be able to jump, and instead you will be teleport and jump on your current target area. Nothing, it is kind of treated as nothing has happened. So things to take note. This is definitely another downside. Then regarding a 3C, Dawn of Heavy Like, okay, the great thing is that for a 3C, there are some positive points. Is a positive and negative points. So the first point is that 3Cs can only target on the ground. You cannot teleport to your enemies with 2 layers of Dark Feathers, as you can see. The great news is that point 2, 3C can always trigger clock, and this means you can always act again if clock triggers. I'm not sure if they were gonna patch it that you can only act against once. However, as you guys I go through with you guys. There's no text stating that the act again ability can only be triggered once per turn, like what is stated for older characters, like example Gintama, Gintoki. When your allies die, you will be able to act again, and this effect can only activate once per turn. This is not written for Tabres, so if you gave a clock enchantment and this triggers, you can just keep spamming this, hopefully until the enemies die. Then some of the stats increment you receive from the bond. I think I'll be skipping of this. And okay, things you guys might be more interested, the highlighted sections here, this too. So for the defense bond, you'll need Ashen, the princess, to help her to unlock. Then for her offensive bond, you will need, you guess it, Hoofman. And this is some of the materials that you need for her casting. Or, well, in my context, rune emblem. I just hate the word casting, to be honest. Then you can see her stats at rank 6. This is a plain basic stat. So okay, I guess that's it. And before we end it, so if you guys are wondering if she is a tier A or like a tier 1 or tier 2 to onward to tier 0, the answer is you may not like it. Apparently she is not that well received in Apex due to the fact that the dark feather of her talent can be negated, counter, and dispel. So currently, as of the current match climbing points in the start of Apex S18 in the CN server, not much players has been using or spamming her because she greatly relies on her allies to help spread the dark feathers counters against enemy. Then the sad thing is that it can be easily removed. I guess the best characters to go with, to combo with her in PvP, is definitely Patricia because of her fire, from her talent, the fire counters that when being dispelled, priority, the fire counter will be dispelled first. So this will help sustain her dark feathers counters on the enemy. But aside from that, currently she's not the best choice in the current meta. So what do you guys think? Do you think she's great, bad, or normal? Leave it down in the comment section below. We will see you guys on the next part of the video. This is Kami. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the video. Goodbye.